Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the Beretta 92 GTS Centurion. So the Beretta 92 GTS. Now this is the Centurion model, which is essentially the compact version, but it is one of Beretta's latest iterations of the venerable 92 series, which of course has been around for decades now, was the service pistol of the United States military, countless law enforcement agencies across the world, and most importantly was used by pretty much every action movie hero from the 80s all the way up to the early 2000s. But given that this is a recent version of that classic design, there have been some subtle but very relevant updates made. For one, and perhaps most obvious, is going to be that frame-mounted decocker. Instead of having the decocker and safety mounted on the slide like generations past, there is now a decocker located on the frame itself. This is not the first pistol in Beretta's lineup to offer this update. However, I do appreciate how they've listened to the market and opted to produce a gun that reflects what their consumers have asked of them. And for me personally, I am one of those people who prefers to have the controls mounted on the frame rather than the slide, so the fact that the decocker is here now is a welcome change for me. So continuing on with what I really like about this pistol, very reliable. For context, took this gun out of the box, didn't clean it, didn't lubricate it, and in about 500 rounds or so that I put through this thing, I've only experienced one malfunction, and it looked like that was a failure to feed of some kind. That could have been me inducing that malfunction by not gripping it correctly. That could have been ammunition related. To be honest, I'm not really sure exactly what happened, but it was only one instance, and it was easily rectified with a tap rack, so the fact that it only happened once and was easily fixed, I'm not going to lose too much sleep over it, and I still feel comfortable recommending this thing for tactical or defensive purposes. Next up is going to be the trigger. This is a double single, meaning that there's going to be that heavy first double action pull, and then you're going to get a nice light single action pull immediately thereafter. So the double action pull is definitely going to be heavy, like it's supposed to be. But for me personally, it's not obnoxiously so. It's enough to do what it's supposed to do without getting into the realm of being a nuisance. I don't have a trigger pull gauge or anything like that, so I can't tell you what the numbers are offhand, but I can tell you that this double action pull actually feels lighter than my P229 Legion. That unfortunately might make some people upset, but I'm just giving my opinion here. And the double action pull is smooth and predictable without being unreasonably heavy, and it's enough for me to be confident in carrying it safely without being excessively cumbersome. Now the single action pull on this thing is phenomenal. There's virtually no creep once you hit the wall. It's got a nice, crisp, clean break. It's very smooth right out of the box. One more time. And I think as I continue to shoot it, it's only going to get better. The reset, super nice and audible and tactile, but it's pretty muted. Overall, it's not going to throw your finger forward on the reset like other pistols that I've shot, but it's still a very nice reset. Overall, the trigger on this thing is top-notch, especially for a mass-produced duty-style handgun. Next thing I really like are going to be the ergos. Unlike earlier iterations of the 92, which had a grip that was a little too wide for my hobbit-sized hands, this grip is a lot slimmer and allows for me to get a much better purchase on the firearm. And generally speaking, I find that hammer-fired guns tend to have a better ergos, and this is no exception. The GTS fits great in my hand. Another thing that I really like is the metal frame. I find that the frame combined with the cutout slide of the 92 really helps mitigate the felt recoil. The gun returns to zero really quickly, and overall I find it very easy to control. Last thing I wanted to point out that I like, and this is a bit of an asterisk situation, are the iron sights. The stock sights on this thing are really nice. It's a blacked out rear combined with a fiber optic front sight, pretty much exactly how I like to run my iron sights. Blacked out rear with either a tritium or a fiber optic front sight. So yeah, the stock sights are great on paper, but like I said, that's a bit of an asterisk situation, but which we're going to get to that. So there are tons of praises to be had about the 92 GTS, but there are some gripes that I do have. For one, it only comes with 2 magazines. This is not a cheap pistol. And for the amount of money that these things cost, I just feel like it should come with 3 magazines. As a matter of fact, I feel like it's industry standard at this point, or it should be industry standard at this point for a gun to come with 3 magazines. So the fact that this only comes with 2 is a bit of an issue for me. It's not a huge issue, but something I did want to point out. The next gripe I have is about the decocker itself. While I do love the fact that it has a frame-mounted decocker, I do wish the decocker moved down instead of moving up. And I'll go ahead and show you what I mean here. It just seems like from a design standpoint, it would make more sense to have this thing want to sweep down if you want to decock the pistol. Instead, you have to sweep it up. It just seems like the way this is machined and the way my thumb kind of naturally fits on this ledge, it would make more sense to sweep it downward if you wanted to decock the pistol. But that's just not the case. You know, perhaps there's a reason why Beretta did that, a logical reason, and I just don't know about it. But for me personally, I just feel like every other hammer-fired gun that I've dealt with that has a decocker sweeps down in order to decock the pistol. So not exactly sure why Beretta felt the need or why Beretta did go ahead and sweep it upward instead, but I do wish that was not the case. The next thing I want to go ahead and point out that I'm not a huge fan of, and this is sort of a combination type deal, is going to be the optics mounting system, or the OEM mounting plates. One thing I want to point out is that this is not Beretta's OEM mounting plate. This is an aftermarket solution from D-Law Designs. It's a much lower profile mounting solution than what you're going to get from Beretta, which leads me to my next point, which is that I am not a huge fan of Beretta's OEM optics mounting platform. The way the OEM optic plates have the optics sit way too high, and I actually had an issue with my plate coming loose on me, and this is after I torqued it to spec and applied blue Loctite to the screws. Granted, it only happened once and it hasn't happened again since, but I gotta say, as fantastic of a pistol as this has been so far, the optics mounting system has probably been its weakest point. The fact that it doesn't come with any optics mounting hardware, and the way the plate actually mounts to the slide seems to be of questionable durability long term. Of course, only time's going to be able to tell with that one, but these are some issues that I did want to go ahead and point out. Now, the last gripe I want to bring up is actually with the iron sights themselves. I said this was a bit of an asterisk type situation, and this is what I mean by that, in that I do like the way these iron sights work. I like them just fine, but they don't co-witness with my optic. I think at this point, pistol optics are here to stay. It's not just a gimmick. And if you're a manufacturer and you're going to offer an optics-ready pistol right out of the box, I think it's a safe or fair requirement that the sights co-witness right out of the box as well. But with this pistol, I have to not only buy a separate optics mounting plate, I now have to buy a separate set of sights if I want to be able to co-witness with the optic too. So yes, the sights were great if I was not planning on running an optic and taking advantage of the optics ready feature that Beretta is giving. But now that I am planning on taking advantage of that feature, I now have to buy a separate set of sights entirely. I find that to be a little bit frustrating, especially when you consider the fact that Beretta is not a budget brand. It's definitely kind of more so on the premier or the higher quality end of things. So the fact that it doesn't come with optics ready or co-witness sights right out of the box is a little frustrating. But complaints aside, overall I do love the way the Beretta shoots. Overall, I think it fits in the hand really well. It's got a really nice OEM trigger. The metal frame does a really good job of absorbing recoil, and so far it's demonstrated some superb reliability. I think this is a gun that's unapologetically itself. Doesn't try to fit into a world of polymer frame striker fire handguns that are all set on dethroning Glock. This thing kind of sits off in the corner on its own, knowing that it's going to attract a certain type of clientele. and it's okay with that. At the end of the day, I think this is for somebody, it's not for everybody. So that is going to be my review on the 92 GTS Centurion. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys think about the 92 GTS in the comments below. See you next time.